Post-traumatic slave syndrome
is not a thing. It's something that you created because you live in the world of academia and you have to bullshit in order to cash a paycheck. I see what you did. You took something that does exist, post-traumatic stress disorder, and you just changed stress to slave. The problem is, none of you bleeps went through slavery. So all we're talking about here is the psychological inability of you and your people, some of them, not all, to grapple with ancient history. It's kind of sad. It's very pathetic, but I'm going to make an attempt to hear her out and come into this with good faith, even though this is AJ+, so, I mean, it's already strike 1 and 2.
Is an explanatory theory that really looks at multi-generational trauma.
Are you traumatized? Is it okay? Are you going to be okay? You know what, though? It's already a win. You know why? Because we're talking about you and your victimhood. And you framed it as, oh, aren't you special? Look at what you've had to endure, even though you didn't. So the very fact that, and please pay attention to this, that we're even talking about the bleeps is a win. It scratched their itch already. Oh, me? We're talking about me? I'm the topic? I'm special? I'm the thing? No, you're not. You're a petty bitch, and it's funny and embarrassing to watch you try to portray the world as owing you something. It doesn't.
One of the things that's difficult for people is their first response is, oh my God, that happened so long ago. We're talking about people being captured, shipped, sold, beaten, raped, experimented on.
Okay, we're reviewing slavery and we're looking at a black and white photo. This is an actual photo with creases in it. And those people seem to be well dressed. They appear to have housing. They're well fed. I mean, surely you should have gone to the one with the guy with the scars on his back, right? Remember that one guy with a picture of him? Yeah, that one. That's really terrible. Slavery bad. We understand.
And then you have to ask the question, did the trauma continue? Yes. So 300 years of trauma, no help, free.
What are you talking about 300 years? Who experienced 300 years of trauma? It's not like the ancient biblical days where people lived to be 800. Nobody experienced all that. What are you talking about? It doesn't pass over. Are we just going to pretend like this is a thing? Most people don't know anything about their grandparents' lives. They're like, your grandfather went through some rough times. He was depressed for most of his life. And I just wanted to check in on you, little Billy, because I'm sure that his depression has passed along to you. No, it hasn't, and we don't care.
And then you have to ask the question, did the trauma continue? Yes. So 300 years of trauma, no help, freed. No help, more trauma.
What? Are these just sentence fragments that you're just saying? You were freed, then no help? Wasn't freeing you helping you? What do you mean no help? Got tons of help. I mean, do we have to go through American history? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Linear time is not supposed to be at play here. We're living in a world of black and white photos, and remember how bad slavery is, and there's been no help since slavery? The fuck are you talking about?
If it's a sustained trauma, then the impact of that is also sustained.
I mean, just keep saying it over and over again, and then it'll will itself into existence. Multi-generational trauma is the thing that, it's sustained because it's sustained.
When we look at multi-generational trauma, we're looking at people who are maybe victims of natural disasters, and their families and their children, and generations of folks who have experienced war. And we know that there are residual mental, emotional, traumatic impact. And what I did was I started to look at the African American experience, starting with slavery.
As opposed to what?
As a real clear, long enduring trauma. So I started to see that there were clear connections between that survival behavior and contemporary living in African American experience.
Right, so you're trying to piggyback on the fact that this thing happened hundreds of years ago, but somehow it's still relevant today, and you're gonna shame us? What is the point of this? What could the possible end game be of a piece like this? Are you asking for money? Do you want us to applaud you for surviving slavery even though you didn't?
I started to see common behaviors that I took for granted as, well, cultural. There's adaptive behaviors, survival behaviors.
Right, no other cultures survive, except for literally every single one. I mean, you're not special. Holy fuck bleeps, you're not special.
Well, what are they? Let's just say 2019, you have...
Here we go, we're in 2019. Uh-oh, how are we gonna tie this all together?
A black mother and a white mother.
Okay, all right, pay attention guys, here we go.
The sons go to school together.
Their sons go to school together? What kind of white trash shit is this?
They find themselves at a meeting. The black mother leans over to the white mother and says, I just wanted to mention to you that I noticed that your son is really doing quite well. And the white mother's response is, oh, thank you. She begins to go on and on about he won the science fair, his uncle's an astronaut. She's just oozing.
Right, so a parent being proud of their child. Okay, what is this evil white she-devil up to?
She realizes the black mother's son is actually excelling her son. And she says, well, wait a minute. Your son's the one that's really coming along. And the black mother responds, oh my God, he's a handful, but oh, he just works my nerves. Now, when I'm working with African-American people.
What the hell just happened there? What is wrong with that mother? She's a terrible mother.
It doesn't matter what the audience is. It doesn't matter what class. If I were to ask, is she very proud while she's saying those denigrating things? And everybody laughs and goes, of course, there's a secret. Because everybody black knows that even though the black mother is going, oh my God, she's really proud. So now let's roll that scene back 300 years.
What? This is such a stretch. Oh, I almost feel bad. It's like, oh God, she has to come up with some angle. And this is just fluff. There's nothing to this.
And let's say this black mother is working in the fields and a white slave owner comes through.
Yeah, here's my metaphor. Okay, so a white mom and a black mom are talking about their kids, and they talk about their kids in different ways. It reminds me of the slave master. Honestly, slavery exists at the forefront of their minds. And how tiresome and fucking petty is that? How pathetic. Bleeps, do you realize we all laugh at you? We fucking laugh at you because you can't get over the shit. As if there's not new problems to contend with. As if slavery was the one and only thing to be concerned about. Fucking losers. Holy shit. Do you realize we're all gonna die? We're gonna die, motherfuckers. And you're gonna be bitching about shit from the 1800s when we do. Get over it. The white ambassador has spoken.
And says, wow, that boy is really coming along. What is she gonna say? No, he's not. He's stupid. He's shiftless. He can't work because I don't want you to sell him.
Right, that's what it is. You guys, we figured it out. So the terrible, passive-aggressive, hostile black mother who won't compliment her own child, oh yeah, she downplays it because she's worried Mass is gonna sell the child. Yeah, what? What fantasy world am I living in?
So I denigrate them to protect them.
Okay, so let me translate. Black mothers today are not doing a good job because white people were slave owners. Wow. So, okay, that explains everything, by the way, guys. Because if you have a problem with the bleep community, it tends to come from the younger generation. And everyone would tell you that they're not being raised correctly, either because they don't have a black father or because the mother is doing a piss poor job of it. But what she's saying is, if a mother does a bad job, it's because of the ancient passed along history of slavery. And she doesn't want to big up her child, otherwise the white men will sell him, and she still thinks that that's applicable today as if it was back then. Oh shit. I mean, what a system of thought you have created. What a web of interconnected retarded ideas. She has washed her hands and the responsibility of the parents of an entire community from being good parents and raising their children. And instead, the age-old tale, it's the white man's fault. Black woman acts like X, that's our fault. Okay, that's your sales pitch? I don't buy that, and nobody does. No thinking person on the good side of the bell curve would fall for this shit. Get real, Grandma.
That is called appropriate adaptation.
No, that's not appropriate. It's not adaptation. These are fancy words that you've cobbled together in an attempt to justify your insane brain fart.
When living in a hostile environment, the little white boy, say Timmy, he feels really comfortable and happy about what his mom just said about him. And Trey looks at his mom and wonders, why can't you be proud of me? Because he doesn't understand the secret yet. And by the time he learns the secret, he will have already been injured by it.
Right, so Trey goes off and joins a gang and starts dealing drugs. I mean, this is so crazy. As if the white community doesn't have their bad parents and doesn't experience breakdowns within white families. I mean, this is not a black-white issue, but this as an attempt to explain away the failure of this community and to pin it directly onto us and to bring up slavery at all is just demeaning. If I were a black person in the community, I would stand up and say, you are disrespecting us by pretending like we can't get over this thing that we didn't experience. It's insulting to us to the core.
Post-traumatic slave syndrome.
Yeah, say it again. Sell the t-shirts. I mean, she's all happy that she's put this stupid thought together. I wonder if there's a solution. What do you think it is? Do you think they'll even get to it? I'm kind of fascinated by that because I think the point of something like this is to declare victimhood, remove yourself from any responsibility at producing successful children, blame whitey, and also then just wallow in your oppression. The wallowing is the end goal. That's why no one respects you.
PTSD is a disorder that occurs as a result of a single trauma. You don't even have to be there to actually get a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder. You could just hear about something horrific happening to someone you love.
Yeah, that's an actual thing. Now explain to us how people not going through slavery is the same thing.
So you have people who have experienced it firsthand, people who have witnessed it in their environment, right? People who are continuing to be oppressed.
Right. Didn't I just tell you that? The end of this is, I am oppressed. Boo-hoo for me, feel bad for me, give me attention, and let me skate by, and don't apply the same rules to me. Why? Because I'm oppressed. There's a bad person out there, or there are bad people out there, spoiler alert, it's white people, who are the enemy. And that is my answer to any question about my life. Why aren't you white people? Why aren't you a good parent, white people? Why don't you have slavery? I mean, it's astonishing and sad for me to realize that's a sufficient answer for them. They're okay with that.
That exacerbates any possibility of healing. So it's not post-traumatic stress disorder, because then it becomes part of what we call your socialization process. So you begin to normalize a way of living and being, everything from what we eat to what we believe it means to be a friend. You know, all of these things are colored by history.
Huh? Everything's colored by history. Oh my God. Wow, Grandma, what insight. It's all connected, y'all. It's cause and effect. Everything is slavery. What a throwaway line that is. I'm a history major, and I'm telling you that statement means literally nothing.
And if you don't understand it, you're going to fold in things that you've just assumed are normal. But post-traumatic stress disorder, you know, exaggerated startle response, outbursts of anger.
Look at her rattling through that. Like we're supposed to know what exaggerated startle response. Come on. It's all terminology and it's all empty. This is why academia is, by and large, a colossal joke. The people within that world are LARPing, and a huge percentage of them pretend like they are engaged in weighty intellectual pursuits, when in actuality, they're doing nothing but stroking their own cocks.
Feeling of foreshortened future. There was a point where there were African-American children in different urban settings that didn't expect to live to be adults.
Yeah, and that's not because of slavery, that's because of the crime rate in your community. And the numbers don't lie. And it's not white people committing the crime. So again, they have to take that stat and that fact about life expectancy in the black community and blame white people for that. There's not a single thing they will take ownership over. And they speak this as if the audience is not going to figure it out. As if there's not someone out there who is astute enough to spot this con.
Because they saw so much death that they started planning their funeral.
Yeah, because why is there a grown-ass man on a little-ass bike? Where is he going? That's not a food delivery guy. He's not on his way to his banking job over in Manhattan, or Manhattan, as my friend likes to say. No. So what is his problem? Oh, I know his problem. He has post-traumatic slave disorder, and his mother was kind of a nagging bitch who always put him down. And the reason she did that is because she didn't want him to be sold into slavery? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. My mistake. It's my fault. I'm a white man, and that's why that grown-ass black man is on a little boy bike doing nothing with his life.
Like at 13, 12, as young as 10. When you start looking at the simple biology, you start looking at the impact of stress on health. And while we look at general stress, we know finances, you have illnesses, all these different things. How about being black?
Yeah, exactly. Just cut to the chase. Yeah, because we're black, our lives are harder, we're super special. I mean, this is pure, unadulterated narcissism parading as academic thought. Me. What about me? Okay, if you're going to say it's stressful to be poor, well, there's more whites who are poor. So why aren't we talking about them? Why is this whole video not about them? You don't think they're dealing with stress or trauma? They are. And if the precedent you want to set is any wrong that has happened to any group of people that you associate with in history, and you can go back hundreds of years, you can leverage today. So remember the fall of the Roman Empire? Well, my ancestors go back to Rome. Oh God, what? Remember the potato famine and the mistreatment of the Irish? Well, I'm Irish. Holy shit, that sucks. Remember what the Vikings did to the English? Well, I'm English. Do I have generational trauma over that? Laughable. If you tried this logic in a white audience, you would be laughed out of the building. Hey, white people, remember that? Remember all the traumas our people felt hundreds of years ago? We feel it too, right? Wink, wink. And we're oppressed because of the stress, because we're white? Stupid shit. Stupid and weak.
How does factoring in being black in America impact your stress level and therefore your body's ability
He doesn't look stressed at all. Looks like he's about to throw a curveball.
to operate its own immune system? Because we know it compromises the immune system.
Right. So black people have AIDS because black. Fuck.
Once you understand it, then you can deal with it. Because you see, it's habitual. You socialize. It becomes part of your being. So one of the ways you begin to address that multi-generational trauma is to work with the people it directly impacts, to hear from them.
Oh, okay. So here's the solution, guys. Hear from them. So just give a microphone to people to bitch about the trauma. In other words, it's a way of saying fuck whites, but it's just, again, wallowing. So the solution to the oppression and to the trauma is to wallow. That's all it is. I told you there's no solution, and there's no solution because there is no problem. They've misdiagnosed the problem.
And when you give the people the information, they can use it.
How? Use what? How? What are we to take from this that is useful in any way?
I think the first order of business is beginning to have a conversation.
See? Just give me a microphone and pay me to go give speeches, and maybe I'll write a book about this and I'll call it, Wallowing in Our Slavery Trauma. I mean, who would buy this fucking rubbish?
And the other is to educate the larger society.
Oh, there we go. Here we go. Now the blame. Cast the blame on the whites. Yeah, your life has to be all about my life. You need to center my life in your life. What? You center my life in your life, bitch.
You have to stop the assault.
What assault? Slavery's over. Are you kidding me?
So this is not purely a clinical thing. This requires social justice and change.
Yeah, change. What change? You could say that shit, but you gotta back it up. And you can't, because you ain't got nothing.
That's where part of the healing is. It's not in a clinical setting or in a pill. It's in fairness and justice and safety.
What? Words, just words. What safety, what fairness, what justice? You are American citizens like everyone else. You don't have a gripe. There is no case to be made here. And don't talk about safety, because then you're talking about crime. And you don't want to talk about crime.
And equity. We got to work with some of those clinical things, some of those issues of panic and anxiety. And we also have to deal with the fact that you have a system that is
systemic in nature, and it is institutional and structural.
Set up to oppress you.
There it is. I'm oppressed, y'all. How? How are you oppressed? Give me 2 sentences defining your oppression. Well, because I'm black. That ain't an answer. You're black, therefore you're oppressed. That is fucking incongruous with reality.
And to continue to injure you. Both those things have to be dealt with. And they cannot singularly by themselves affect a change. They have to be done collectively.
You said nothing that meant nothing. What a waste of time. Oh my God, AJ Plus, incredible. Great job, bleeps. Great job. You're not sending us your best.
If you like this channel and what Devon provides for you, let him know. You can support the channel in a variety of ways. Sign up on Patreon, PayPal, or Subscribestar.